Hello friends, welcome back. My name is Jason, and when it comes to preparedness, survival in general, there's a lot of things that we need to be concerned with. Food, fire, water, shelter, whether you're in a wilderness environment or you're talking about the homestead here, we need to have all those things squared away. Have a stockpile of food, I think, for hard times. If the grocery store should one day decide not to open up their doors, or the shelves are empty, or they're rationing out food to people, I think it's a good idea to have a long-term supply of food. Should you have stored? I think a year is a good goal for most people. Like, it's a long-term goal. It might take you a little while to get there. You could just dump a whole bunch of money on long-term food storage, dump a couple $1,000s on it, and you'd be squared away for a year. That's definitely an option if you've got some extra cash. I mean, a lot of us are willing to spend a couple $1,000s on a new gun or something, but very few of us are willing to spend a couple $1,000s on food because it's just not as fun. So we have a plethora of pasta sauce here, and this one is meat sauce. It actually has meat in it, so it's going to have a higher level of protein, which is a good choice. So when you're buying your foods to store for the longer term, you want to have a nice variety, of course. Maybe plan out some meals that you could actually make. So if you buy this can of sauce, you've also got the pasta to go along with it, and some, I don't know, let's say dehydrated cheese or something, Parmesan cheese to go along with that. Some seasonings, salt and peppers and all that stuff. That way you can kind of have an actual full meal as opposed to just this giant mountain of rice that you can do very little with. I always suggest buying stuff that gets you the most bang for the buck. So you've got high caloric, highly nutritious type foods. Water, where's your water coming from? Do you have alternative sources of water? Can you collect rainwater? Do you have a well? Do you have a way to access that water from the well should the power go out? Guns and ammo, a way to defend yourself, protect yourself, the property, and keep the things that you have. You should be efficient, you should be safe, and weapons handling, I think you should practice that stuff. You should do it on a regular basis. There's a lot of things that we need to take into consideration. There's a lot of things that we need to do to be more prepared. However, there's one thing that's extremely neglected in our community. There's one thing that is shunned, pushed to the side most of the time, that is neglected a lot, and that is just health in general. And I would go out on a limb and say that it's probably the most important prep that you can have. Having a healthy body, mind, and spirit, there's nothing more important than that. Because if you are not healthy, if your body doesn't work the way that it should, if you're sick, you're bedridden, whatever, it's going to make everything in your life more difficult, emotionally, physically. Everything is going to be more difficult if you are not physically fit. And a lot of people shy away from this. They push away from it. Maybe they say something along the lines, maybe you're in the same boat, maybe you're one of these people, you say, I used to be fit, I used to do all the things, and now I'm old and I don't do that stuff anymore. Okay, sure. Everybody's got excuses. A lot of people at the very mention of fitness or health are going to click away from this video and they're going to say, I don't want that. That's fine if that's how you choose to live your life. If you want to be sick and decrepit in your older years, that's fine. But I want more for you guys. I want more for our community. I want us to be strong physically. I want us to be, and if you're strong physically, you're going to be stronger emotionally. Your self-confidence is going to go up. Your energy levels are going to go up. You're going to feel better about yourself. Life is going to be easier, is going to be better, the fitter that you are. Now, a lot of people are going to say, I don't have time for that. I'm a busy guy. I don't have time for that in my life. And I understand having obligations and other responsibilities and things that take away from fitness. I get that. I totally understand it. I'm a really busy guy too. However, you have to make it a priority. And I'm going to give you guys some tips that I think will help you make it a priority and help you get it done, because that's really what we have to do, is we just have to get it done. And most of us think that it's this huge, big time suck that's going to take all of our time and energy, and we can't squeeze it in. But really it doesn't. For example, I work out 3 times a week, and generally speaking, it's always less than 30 minutes. So 10 to 30 minutes, somewhere around the 20-minute average mark is how long it takes me. That's my investment in time. 20, 30 minutes, something like that, 3 times a week, generally Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. That's it. That's what I do, okay? And I'm not training. I'm not training for some sport. I'm not training to be an Olympian. I'm not attempting to be some sort of elite triathlete or something like that. What I want is general physical preparedness. I want my body to be capable to do all the things that life may throw at me, whether that's for recreation or that's for survival purposes. I want to be able to do all the things. And just so you guys don't think I'm just talking out of my butt here, I did this professionally for a long time. I was a Division I collegiate strength and conditioning coach. I was a human performance specialist for Naval Special Warfare. So I've got a fair bit, a lot of experience at this stuff. And I know what it takes to achieve elite levels of fitness. And I know what the minimum requirements are to get any results whatsoever. And in my experience, about 3 times a week, about 20, 30-minute investment in time each of those sessions is about what it's going to take to get anything out of your training. Anything's better than nothing, obviously. If all you can do is get out there and go for a walk a few times a week, then that is awesome. That is fantastic. Good for you. Please continue to do that and progress from there. I highly recommend, another tip, highly recommend that you do your workouts first thing in the morning, because it takes a significant amount more motivation. We'll talk more about motivation here in a second, but it takes a significant amount more motivation to do your workouts at the end of the day after you've done all the work and you're exhausted and hungry and tired and you've been not sweating all day. It takes a lot more effort to get your body going and get the workout done at the end of the day. So I suggest that you do it first thing in the morning. Go ahead and knock it out. That way it's over, done with, and you don't have to worry about it anymore. I forgot to mention motivation. Let's talk about that. You can't wait to get motivated before you start exercising. If you wait for motivation to strike you, to come upon you, you will never start. You'll never get it done. I am very rarely motivated to go out and exercise. I'm never like, oh man, this is going to be great. I'm looking forward to this. I can't wait to get out there and torture myself. Not at all. I don't enjoy the exercise. I don't enjoy the process. I enjoy the rewards. I reap the rewards from the effort, and I am highly motivated to continue doing these bouts of exercise because of the results. But almost never am I looking forward to getting out there and doing the squats and push-ups and stuff. That doesn't really happen. So I say don't wait for motivation to hit. Just make it a routine, get out there and do it, and be committed to getting it done no matter what. No matter how you're feeling, no matter what the weather is, just get it done. Another big deterrent from fitness is the gym requirement, right? People think that you have to have a gym membership. You got to get up early in the morning, way before work. You got to drive to the gym. You got to do your workouts. You got to shower. You got to head home. You change your clothes. You got to do, you don't have to do that. And I highly suggest that you don't have a gym membership. I think that working out at home, working out in my barn is way more productive, way easier, way less time suck if I work out at home. The commute time is gone. I don't have to drive anywhere. I'm here. I get it done before I get my work done for the day. I work out, a lot of times I work out in the afternoons, but I do that specifically so I can work out with my kids and with my wife. But if it was just me, I'd just go ahead and get it done first thing in the morning. I suggest that you don't get a gym membership. You don't need it. All the equipment, the fancy stuff at the gym is not required. You need extremely small amounts of equipment to achieve elite levels of fitness. You really don't need any equipment whatsoever. You can get really creative and use primarily just your body weight, the outside surrounding areas, the hills around you if you live in hill country like I do, logs, cinder blocks. You can get really creative and use all sorts of 5-gallon buckets of water. The sky is the limit. You are only limited by your creativity. But if you were going to invest in some sort of home gym, I suggest a pull-up bar and or some gymnastics rings. Rings are not expensive. The ones that I've had for at least 10 years, and they were $50, maybe they're steel rings. They're going to last you forever. Heavy duty straps on them, and you can hang them from pretty much anything. And you can do push-ups on them. You can do dips. You can do pull-ups. There's a lot of things that you can do with gymnastics rings. So I highly suggest that you get those. Get a few kettlebells. If you're going to invest in some free weights, kettlebells are awesome because of the versatility. You can just do a ton with them. So get an assortment of kettlebells, and just like the gymnastics rings, they're going to last you your life pretty much. You can buy once, cry once, spend the money. Weights are fairly expensive just in general, but they will literally last you the rest of your life. So I would get, a 25, 35, 45, 55, 65 pound kettlebell, somewhere in that range. That way you can have some variety in there for different exercises. And really, with a pull-up bar and or some rings and some kettlebells, really, you could literally achieve elite levels of fitness with just that right there. You don't need anything else other than some space. I'm really fortunate. I've got some acreage, and I've got a half-mile lap around my property that I run. I call it the Habitat Lap. But you don't need that much space. You really don't. You can get it all done literally in your apartment in a confined, very small space, and then occasionally go outside and go for a run. Stay off the treadmill and go enjoy the space. Enjoy the outside. Rain or shine, I like to work out outside. That's just my style. That's how I roll. And I think it's honestly better for us to spend more time outside. Some of you are going to say, I have an active job. I work construction or something, and I'm swinging a hammer, and I'm carrying lumber all day long and all that stuff, and that is awesome. That means that you are an active individual, and you're probably ahead of the game. You're going to be in the 90th percentile of human beings, at least in this country, as far as physical fitness goes. However, what you are doing is basically long duration, low intensity exercise or activity all day long. And it's not the same. It's not the same as doing a high intensity interval style training. And that is what I would suggest, and that's what I would recommend. A high intensity, short duration exercise regimen is going to do so much more for you than your long, slow, let's say your marathon long distance runner. Long distance running is really only good for long distance running. Long duration cardiovascular exercise like that makes you weaker, makes you slower. And I know some of you endurance runners out there, I'm hurting your feelings, but it is a fact. I've worked with all sorts of different athletes, and by far the weakest, slowest athletes, most uncoordinated athletes that I've ever had were my long distance runners. Now, take a sport like soccer players, for example. They were pretty well-rounded and fairly fit individuals, fairly strong, fairly fast, explosive. They could go out and run long distances if they wanted to, if they chose to, but that wasn't the only thing that they were good at, because the majority of their training was short, intense sprints with with a little bit of rest, and then short, intense sprints, and then a little bit of rest. And that type of training, in my experience, is way more beneficial, and you're going to get a whole lot more bang for your buck. So combine a fitness regimen 3 times a week, 30 minutes each time, 30-minute sessions. Combine that with good nutrition, which is a really big portion of fitness. So if you're overweight at all, 95% of that is going to be your nutrition. You're either eating too much or you're eating the wrong kinds of foods. You're eating junk. You can eat as much of this stuff. You can eat, in my opinion, in my experience with the athletes that I've worked with, you can eat as much meat as you want. Vegetables, go for it. If it still looks like a plant, if it still looks like a leafy, greenish, some sort of plant, eat as much as you want. Nuts and seeds, eat as much as you like, as long as they're not coated in chocolate, right? If it still looks like a plant, go for it. You can't really consume too much of that. Now, the more processed something is, the less it looks like the actual plant, the more you need to avoid it. So meat, nuts and seeds, fruits and vegetables, go for it. You're really not going to overeat that stuff. Everything else, please, moderation is the key. It's all the diets out there, all the fad diets. I've seen them all. Everything from vegans to carnivore diets to all the things. And a lot of people have a lot of success with a lot of those diets. But for the most part, what you're going to find is that people will stick with them for a short period of time, maybe a year, maybe 2, whatever, maybe less. But then they stop doing it because it's not it's not something that they can continue in their life. It's throughout their life. It's not a sustainable way for them to eat the rest of their lives. So, like I was saying, eat clean foods, meats, nuts, seeds, fruits, vegetables. Eat as much of that stuff as you want. And then everything else in moderation. That's going to be the key. Get rid of sugars, all the sugary sweet drinks and stuff like that. Get rid of all that. It's poison. The verdict is out. There's no surprises anymore. That sugar is poison. It's very bad for you. Stop eating it and you will have good results. Less inflammation. Your body will hurt less. You'll lose weight. Everything will be better if you get rid of a lot of that crap. Please, guys, please, I'm begging you, for the sake of Pete, invest a little bit of time. It's not that much. It's really not that much. An hour and a half a week at most. An hour and a half a week at most. And you can really get some solid goals achieved as far as physical fitness goes. You'll be a more prepared, more confident, more capable individual, and you will not regret it. It takes a little bit of effort in the beginning to build up that steam and get that routine going. But once you've got a routine and it's just part of your life, you can sustain that the rest of your life. Obviously, modify as needed. Like most of my workouts, it would appear to the untrained eye to be kind of random and I'm just doing whatever. But that's not really true. I've been doing this stuff long enough. I have enough experience with it, and I know what my body's capable of doing. I know what will be difficult. I know what progression looks like for me. I know what sustainment looks like for me. And that's only going to come with experience. So each day I design my workouts. I do make up my workouts each day. I'm not, planning this stuff weeks in advance. I'll think about what I've done recently. I'll think about maybe some of the things that I'm weak on that I need to progress. And maybe I'll throw that into my workouts. And I have a very good grasp on rep ranges and how much or how little I should do. And I work around injuries. If my shoulder's bugging me, this week, I'll take it easy on that stuff. And I'll lay off of the upper body stuff until it starts to feel a little bit better. And I take the liberty to modify my workouts in the middle of them. If, I'm feeling good at the very beginning and then suddenly I'm sucking wind and my knee's starting to hurt a little bit, I'll modify that workout or I'll cut it short or I'll do what I need to do to make sure that my body continues to function and I don't hurt myself, because if the training is hurting, it's defeating the purpose. So be smart. And if you're just getting started, please be smart. Start out really slow, very slow. Start going for walks and light jogs and do some push-ups and some body weight exercises and stuff like that, and then slowly progress. I really do appreciate you watching. Thanks so much. Please hit that thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Ask lots of questions. You can reach, if you have a question, like a personal question about exercise, fitness, something like that, you think that I can help you with, I would be more than happy to help you. You can message me on Instagram. That's probably the easiest. At Jason Lee Survival. At Jason Lee Survival on Instagram. You send me a message, and I will definitely do my best to answer any and all questions. But leave comments on this video as well, and I'll try to answer any and all questions there. And guys, I cannot wait to see you on the next one.